I need to audio. I need to also hear this monitor now. Yeah. Close. Wait. Properties. Monitor this. I can't monitor this correctly to say. So I can close this. Microphone? Hello? Why is it so low? What the fuck? Anyways. Tarantan. Musica. Yeah, music. Something like this. Like this, you should. Yeah. Yeah. I think that is a proper volume. I hope. And well. Anyways. We haven't. We don't know if this is going to work. So let's see. Also, hello, Joel. Hi, hi, hi. As you say, welcome, man. Wait, didn't you ping? Didn't you have a collab, brother? What's up with that? I can check that right now. I saw that you said that you have a collab. Where is the collab? What's going on with that? There is no time for when it is happening even. Amazing. But well, that let me pop out this. Yeah, pop out. Thank you. Let me move over here. Let me close all of this stuff. See. I know how a lot of stuff to do. The problem is I don't remember exactly what. So that is kind of annoying. And also this music, yeah, I don't like this one. It fucking makes me nervous because it goes so hard. But well, I can't concentrate on this. Also, isn't this like longer? Why is this just how much? 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 20 seconds or so. It should be longer, right? I can search that too. What do we have to search? Oh yeah. No, I already forgot what the fuck. The Hall of the Mountain King. How long it is? It is only 2 minutes, what? Amazing. I guess it was shorter than what I expected. Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Hall of the Mountain King. Yeah, no. Let me start closing a little bit of stuff. I guess at this point I can liberate myself out of those things. Why do we have so many tabs open? What's up with this? Anyways, besides that, I should not be having anything to do. Yeah, okay. I can now go to this place and make this post and say this thing and go over that thing and wow. I guess if it is 2 minutes and 30 seconds, it should be like how much? 1, 2. It should only repeat 4 times. If it repeats more than 4 times, it probably is. Yeah, it probably means that I am going over time. And also, I started the song itself late, so it's kind of a problem on that sense too. But anyways, I still have things to do. Let me do that. So here apply. I guess. Yeah, it should be fun, right? Can send that. I can close this. I can also move to here. How much time do we have? Okay, 3 minutes. Let me watch over here. And let me see. Have anything particular that I can. Okay, here. I shall probe. Shell, right? Okay, we're fine, I think, with all of this, right? How much? This like. How much does the song last? Really? 2 sec. Okay, 2 minutes. 30, 31, 32, 32 seconds almost. Okay, nice to know. So yeah, it it shouldn't go over the first how much? 5? Yeah, it shouldn't go over the 4 reproductions of the song itself. Before we have to start, I guess. That is kind of good to know. That is a good measure for us to see. And also, can I add redeems? I know that I have nothing to do. Redeem? No. What is it? Community? Community? Content? No. What? Here points. I think it is. I can. Okay. We're probably going to take 1 or 2 minutes longer because I want to do that, and I forgot to do that at other times. I know. So let me uh, admin, edit, create here. Uh, Okay, how much should this cost? I think like 1k, probably. And meat? No, I don't care. Yeah, 5 minutes. Okay, there it is, create. And with that, we have yet another new. Yeah. I went overboard, but there it is. We have the. Let me see. We have it. Okay. We have the redeem. So that is amazing. I think so. And well, with that, yeah, not that much more to really do. Let us now properly start. Also, I don't know why I am so. I am not projecting enough my voice into the microphone. Sorry. Uh, I I did everything else except opening video, except the most important thing that I didn't do. Nice, I guess. Back. Give me 1 second, please. Like one instant. Oh my god. So there it is. Are we? Are we open now? Okay, there it is. Yeah. Anyways, hello, hello everyone. It has been quite some time. Um, Here we are, yet another occasion in which we find ourselves here, gathered. Today, I think to read a little bit, quote unquote, a little bit. We are going to try to go for like probably 2 or 3 hours of reading, if it is possible. If I can survive the whole ordeal, I think I would like to try that. I I hate that the last time we even failed because I almost fall asleep. So yeah, we're going to continue with that whole thing on one hand. But besides the point, sorry, as always, hello everyone. Sorry for not saying it, not saying it in proper order. Hello, I hope everybody is doing fine. We are all doing well. Yeah, as I said before, since last time, like how much, 2 or 3 days ago. Um, yeah, here we are. So, welcome, welcome viewers, welcome chatters, welcome lurkers, welcome bot watchers. Also, welcome, and well, hello in particular to Chul, and also hello Klondike, welcome. And yeah, here we are, here we are. I can't. I can't stop seeing that my mic doesn't really pick me up properly. What's up with that? Hello, Mike. Are you working? Do I need to move myself? I think I didn't change anything here. I think, but I don't know. Anyways, besides the point. Aha. There is something that I forgot to do, and that is, as always, let. Okay, there it is. No. Okay, no, for real, there it is. Okay. Oh my god, wait. New, new emotes. New Klondike emotes. Just drop. Let's fucking go. I hope you're doing fine, my brother. But well, here we are. It is very early in the night, quote unquote, and we are yet again here, just another time to do the beauty of exerting mental capacities, let's say. And well, after all, it is always a pleasure. We will see what, as always, as it happens, we will see what we can learn afterwards. And I don't know. I don't have the capacity to know, as always, if what we have in the chapters that we're going to read is good or not. So sorry in advance if it isn't interesting, I guess. But well, Yeah, yeah. So far, I think I am doing fine. I will say I think yeah. Let's. I need to argument this. I was interested in doing a little bit of a longer stream because the last time that we tried to read, I was more tired than usual. So I wasn't capable of really focusing just on properly reading and such. So I tried to be even better than what is my average so that we can go for longer. So yeah, yeah, I will say I am doing pretty well. And that is fantastic, I feel like. After all, taking care of oneself for something like this is fine. I believe so. But well, yeah. Um, I I, w- I wouldn't know if saying is all that's correct or not, but I hope you're also resting well, Klondike. After all, I had been thinking about it, and I can't shake off my mind that you're probably from America, right? So when you are streaming, it is incredibly late. No, like I remember that I have seen a lot of times, more in the past. Nowadays, not so much. But more in the past, it was pretty common for me to see when I finished my streams that you were also live at those hours, and that was, I guess, worrisome after all. It is kind of not weird, I will say, but rather mm, interesting or noticeable when somebody is so late going on. But well, I mean, I say that because I know those times. I don't, for example, I don't really know when it is late and when it isn't late in places like Germany or places like what's what's this other one? Britain and such, where you don't even get to know if, well, not that you don't get to know. I personally don't remember those time zones that well, so I know that, for example, we only have like 1 or 2 hours of difference between uh, America, as in United States, and here. So that is a very easy connection to make mentally. Um, wait. It is, well, I mean, mm, you at the very least, you know that you're overdoing yourself. So that is already quite a good thing to take, yeah, to have in mind. Because even if you believe that you're not controlling yourself that much, by simply being capable of bringing your awareness towards the fact that you're overdoing it, you present the possibility of solving those problems, and that is more than good. It wouldn't be the same as if out of nowhere, let's say, you had no notion of how much you were overexerting in that sense. So it is fine, I guess. Or not that I guess. I can also notice after all, even I myself, I have to accept that it is late when I stream, obviously, and I tend to also try to go for quite some time to make it last long enough, and so that whatever we do, it can have enough of a capacity of being, let's say, um, capable of producing what is always the main goal here, as in any idea worth of consuming, no? So yeah, it tends to happen, and I guess certainly in your case, you might not. I am only speaking from my side, no, but I guess at the very least you get to, after exerting yourself and doing art, you can always go to bed having done what you liked, right? After all, if you didn't like it, you wouldn't be practicing, I suppose. So that is more than beneficial. It is, yeah. After all, it is just one other consequence of streaming. But a very common thing to find out. After all, the experiences themselves brought with streaming and with the capacity of sharing your adventures are more than beneficial. I believe so. Yeah. I mean, on the other hand, I also see what you say there. I believe there is a certain almost innate factor on every single streamer because after all, you wouldn't really want to push yourself to create what you're doing. So that is kind of innate, I believe. And I would say it is good to have it under control. I wouldn't argue towards completely killing off any desire to push yourself. Certainly, yeah, it has obviously a lot of different ways to analyze it. If we are just saying it as a notion that exists, in this case for our drive to create something good, it obviously shouldn't be killed, and even less it should happen when it comes to the whole human nature and such. But that is besides the point, I guess. So yeah, you probably get what I mean here, like getting control, that un- unreasonableness part of your desire to push yourself hard and your desire to stream, to do art, to share. I mean, do all of those things. After all, it is it is always nice, and it is always once again part of the process itself. And no problem, no problem. I think if it is as how you say that you enjoy it, then there is no real complaint for me to do. You you get to do what you like, and always one has to exchange one thing for another. So certainly you are even aware that you are losing a little bit of sleep or a proper sleeping schedule, but you get to do art and you get to keep practicing and such. And I mean, the amount of practice that you have made has made you, since the first time that I saw you, certainly a lot more accurate also. So it isn't like you are just doing something that you like and you have not progressed in anything else. Like, let's say, I don't know, grabbing a hammer and hitting repeatedly a brick until it becomes atoms because of how hard you smashed everything. No, it is a constant path what you are following. So it is good to see that it is going well. And it is, yeah, just what we started this with. The side of, there is also a little bit of concern, I guess, because we do start both of us stream quite late. And it, it is at the very least something to just bring attention to. Like, supposedly, everybody should be capable of handling themselves in life, no? Supposedly. So it isn't like, oh my god, no, I have to ask Klondike if he's sleeping well. I suppose that, as everybody does, you also have that capacity, supposedly. So yeah, it was just from that side, I guess. But give me a second. But well, besides the point, everything is fine. So we can say that everything is good so far. And well, I was now. I remember that I was trying to say something else before, but I forgot. So excuse me. Let me go with something completely different. In the meanwhile, I was thinking lately, as always, and I have yet not found a way to stop thinking. Sorry, but yeah, I was thinking and I was observing how much knowledge we have in terms of different philosophies and such. And I was observing this not because out of nowhere, wow, yeah, we have so much, but rather because we are in a discussion, in an ongoing discussion with a friend, And it is about how we're taught and how we are given the possibility of thinking. And it has come to my attention from that side that certainly we possess a lot of people who has tried their best to bring some understand understanding or create some understanding when it comes to the fields of in, in philosophy itself obviously analyzes the matter and analyzes in a certain way the soul and analyzes what is the main questions of life and such, and that is something that ends up encapsulating this whole notion of, as to how in a certain way we particularly do contain or do exercise ourselves in a world in which it is almost necessary for us to learn and similar things. And that is where it gets interesting, I believe, because there is no, so far, there is no perfect way of learning that we have discovered, and we have not yet been given to the average population, not to the really top percentile masses, but the average population. We have not yet being handled, sorry, a proper way of understanding and learning things. And that is where it comes, this notion of this, yeah, almost every single type of knowledge is out there for you to try and discover. And if you are willing to take the adventure of doing it, you might find something that in the way in which it is presented might lead you towards a better comprehension of other concepts. But the problem itself is we have a lot of things already, and we only keep creating knowledge so far. We are not really, in a certain way, destroying it. At the very best, what we are doing is disproving what was false for the sake of, once again, creating an even more complex type of knowledge. And it doesn't really solve the question of, yeah, now we have found a way in which we know that what is being presented or what is being talked about truly doesn't encapsulate more than just one or two ideas. It, and in reality, we're almost at the opposite end nowadays, where we're trying to create too many things all at once, I believe. And obviously, there is no obligation for anybody to learn every single thing about the world. I quote unquote talk about a similar thing in a certain uh, tweet that already went live. That was, there is no obligation of carrying the whole world because that is not a burden that was imposed onto you. That is something, yeah, that is only something that you impose onto yourself because you're not capable of appreciating the capacities that you possess on very particular fields of things. And from that same way of thinking, I ended up realizing that sadly, we are not truly finding ways of creating almost anything of, I believe, real quality and real grasp in this case, in this whole discussion that I am trying to create, or to continue or to bring up here, of how to understand anything at all. And that has become so far a problem because I think we're starting to learn that there are too many things to learn, let's say. And yeah, it is hard to appreciate ourselves, but, or not, but it is hard to appreciate ourselves. And because it is hard to appreciate ourselves, we have an even harder time appreciating everything else. Because in a world in which you get to know which things you can really deal with, imagine how much of a capacity you will have to disinvolve yourself only in the things that you know you will enjoy doing. But, and that is where the problem arises. If nobody tries to tell you that it is possible for you to only do what you can do the best and be capable because of that, of having a good life, how can you even try to go for such a thing when the whole world, albeit silently, demonstrates to you that forcing yourself into a very normalized standard where everybody does as many things as possible, quote unquote, um, is the average and is the somehow good thing. And from there, it ends up going into this whole idea of we have an incredibly, I don't know if it is incredibly, we simply have a problem. That is, we don't get to teach people what is worth learning because we have defined a lot of things for what are concepts that had at this point become bigger than us. We we are dealing with a notion that was given to us as if we somehow were capable of understanding it without even thinking about it, as if it was the most rational thing to deal with, let's say, living in a society, when in reality, although we are obviously animals that have to a certain extent evolved from before, and obviously from 2000 years ago we have evolved, what hasn't really changed is what we are remain in terms of cognizance and capacities of picturing things in our mind. It would be a lot better if we got people teaching us since we are little what is this whole world where we are being introduced rather than, oh yeah, it is completely normal for people to have iron coffins that move at 300 times the speed of a human that is running as fast as they can. And also, we have iron coffins that can fly, and we have others that can go directly into space. And all of that is normal for you. It is, once again, we have moved too fast. I mean, I believe, I perceive, I think, I don't get to say it. I don't get to properly articulate it this time around. But yeah, we have a problem in that sense. I feel like, and at the very least, we have the capacity also of learning still. Uh, Even with all of these problems existing, you get to dedicate yourself to doing your own existence to what you like. And even if society, to a certain extent, doesn't allow you to express yourself as much, almost everybody has the capacity of doing it in a way in which they get to receive the benefits of trying their best and trying their hardest in, once again, in terms of providing some type of value to this world. I don't know how to say it, but the point is, yeah, I guess we are fine. Even if things are unreasonable, we are fine. And we can deal with the problems that exist. It is like, yeah, I will give it something like, probably it is just the worries of, I would have liked things to be a different way if I was, yeah, if it was me who was teaching, uh, sorry for for stuttering too much. I am thinking as I'm saying this. If it was the actual me who was teaching my child self, I would have loved things to be completely different. I think it would have been a lot better to get thoughts about concepts that revolve around the world in which I exist and which make my existence easier rather than having to learn about completely random things like what is it? I think the ways in which triangles are made, or the ways in which you can always predict that. Yes, stuff of that sort. Basically, that one thing is one and that another is a certain way. Like, I guess probably learning about why learning about physics is good. After all, it certainly has gained, and it always is one of the most advanced sciences that we possess. But still, I don't know if I needed to go to the level of learning what atoms are. I don't know that. I don't believe I have a necessity over observing such a concept when I was also so young. But I don't know. At the very least, when you get taught so many completely disparate ideas, you get also to nurture your own curiosity. After all, I mean, I will say that almost nobody has found themselves dealing with things that are completely unrelated to their lives in terms of not to their lives, to their younger lives. That's the word. So I don't know. I think yeah, it's simply weird. That's just what I wanted to say. Just another way for me to complain. That is what I wanted to do. To come here and to complain. Haha. Eh, something like that. I don't know. But yeah. Give me give me a second because I want to drink water already. Eh, hello. Eh, water. Water is precious. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Besides what I was saying, because I think I have once again gone too far to the point to which I had to think almost everything that I was saying instead of simply going easily into ideas which I already created and which we can explore, um, quote unquote, the both of us. I can't. I have to keep thinking about what I was trying to go with. So yeah, moving on, I guess, into yeah, I will not lie. I have been lately, partially obviously because of school, I have been going back into older texts and older um, knowledge that is Plato and I know it is uh, Heraclides in Spanish. I think it is translated differently in English. Let me search for that because I hate why do why do we translate some names? What the fuck is up with that? Uh, Heraclitus. Taran, that is the name. That's that guy. I was observing those people and I was taking taking all, all of the information that was available out there because incredibly enough there is not that much. Uh, Older times made those people die in manners in which not that much knowledge is concerned. I guess I would have an easier time if I was interested in uh, applied sciences, I think it is their name. Like, once again, I said physics and astrophysics and such, like Newton and similar people, who is a lot more recent and who have a lot more of their works saved and conserved for preserved, that is a word, for us to keep learning. But yeah, the point is, I was learning about these people, and I don't know. I think it is almost amazing once again going back into this discussion of spending your time doing things that you enjoy and doing things that you enjoy with your free time because after all You shouldn't be punishing yourself with things that are not necessary for your life and similar things. I was amazed, pretty much, when I found out that these people dedicated so much of their time trying to make sense out of the world when because there is always a big difference between that world and the one in which we live nowadays, and that is it was incredibly easier back then, quote unquote easier. Uh, Obviously, life expectancy was so short because people was a lot more fragile in terms of healthcare and such. It wasn't easier in those terms, but we didn't have that many concepts to worry about. I mean, there was no uh, nuclear weapon that might wipe the whole planet like it exists nowadays. But I was thinking about these people, and I was amazed at how much somebody who is willing enough can come up with incredible considerations, or in this case, considerations of things. In in almost any different field, you will observe that people of this sort exist, and the problem is sadly we have yet not cultivated, or at the very least, once again, we have not made ourselves aware of the necessity of appreciating anything that might contain a speck, or in a certain way, the soul of the artistical creation. Because we're not encouraging everybody to do their best, or in the in this kind of gray slash dark area in which some people is capable of creating art, we are not encouraging the proper people, quote unquote, to create more and more art so that we can keep learning from them in any way possible. And that is sadly something that we are nowadays obviously losing more. I thought there is always that constant desire towards inspiring others that we possess as humans, I believe, and which drives us towards those recreational moments in which we can't avoid to find ourselves amazed at the creations of someone else, and because of them inspired to also create. I don't think almost any artist is just dealing with hallucinations as it happened with some of the bigger minds. I i recognize. I don't. I I hope he doesn't get angry if he hears about this, but I don't think somebody like Klondike is having visual hallucinations as to in which ways he portrays a whole image being made up in front of him, and, and he needs to grab as fast as he can a pencil and scribble as many details, or as accurately as possible, a simple sketch of that, as it happened with someone like the bigger inventors of the older era. Let's say that we don't have that many creative people. We have the normal type, which is I watch something, I felt something, and now I want to communicate those things through my art. Why? Because I can, and because at the very least, I feel like I can do it. And the problem is, once again, we are not encouraging enough people to do it, and we are not noticing how necessary it is to have. And I haven't not yet defined by myself how much of an importance it possesses in terms of allowing every single one to be part of that process, because supposedly there is enough proof to say that not every single human being has that same innate capacity, and that not everybody should worry themselves with creating. You should only worry with being functional to society, because after all, you are uh, so incompetent that you amount to nothing somehow. Although I guess certainly the acquisition of knowledge in this case is useful. Although the more we keep existing as a species, quote unquote, um, the more we get to become even more advanced. Because one of the few, yeah, I left. Not that I left. I didn't even remember this at that point. When I thought that in the last 2 centuries we have changed a lot, or in the last 2 millennia we have changed a lot. There is something that also has changed along that, and that is the capacity of our brains has changed a lot. I The information learned from the course of almost every single 3 generations, your IQ overall increases between 3 and 7 in in between generations, shows that there is some ways in which we are adapting, even in this incredibly rapid, always evolving landscape of society. So it doesn't mean like we have no capacity of adapting, and it doesn't mean like we are still monkeys in a concrete jungle, as they will say. We're obviously humans, and we possess the sufficient enough tools to deal with the problems, but sometimes we need to be presented with them. It is rather neglectful to believe that everybody will, out of nowhere, find ways in which they can create or come into contact with the different useful knowledges that are contained into the archives of society itself. So that is also part of the problem. But I don't know. I know that I went back into what I literally said I was not going to talk anymore. Sorry. Um, my bad. Trying to trace back into the art. I believe that we can create stuff and that we can, everybody, make some important contribution towards this. And I mean, when when you take into consideration so many effects that lead you towards yeah, hmm? that's that's okay. I mean, I mean, I know that I know that I can say whatever I want and such, but I say this constantly. I worry that at some point I lose myself too much into what I am saying, and I might lose people from following what the fuck I am trying to picture, because to a certain extent, even I myself noticed that I went back into what I was mentioning like 5 minutes ago, and I also wrote back what was the conversation that we had with Klondike like half an hour ago, and it isn't like I am slowly placing words in a clear picture. I am forcing. I am always constantly talking and talking and talking, so it gets hard to follow. I accept that if I had to watch my own bots or streams as not me, I would probably have following what I'm trying to say. And even more also, my accent is a problem with that. So I try to be concise with my ideas, but I derail when sometimes, not whenever, sometimes. But yeah, I think it is still part of what Klondike says. The love for creation, the the appreciation itself towards the capacity of creating. After all, I mean, it ends up being wonderful how many things you can say, how many connection of concepts you can make simply by articulating them in a way in which you get to experience this spirit of knowledge arising from within you, so that you get to say it and to also see it making those same connections that you are expressing through your words. And it is, I think, as wonderful as it gets to, if you can feel it hardly enough, or sufficiently enough, creating a picture that is also communicating, and it it is a wonder. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, yeah. I will have to say thanks to that, and I don't know. I don't know. I will take it as a compliment. And once again, to avoid reflecting the compliment, I add no further response to what you say, Klondike. But thank you. I hope it is then a net positive. Let me say that. I hope it is as certainly net positive. After all, it is good, at the very least for me. A mental exercise, once again, to be here and to go for an not unprecedented, un monitor, un, who's it to say? Un monitored, yeah, un monitored amount of time. Um, how much do I really say stuff? Oh no, I mean, I mean because something that I learned that is very interesting is why it is so hard for some people. Something that I found affecting me to take a compliment. It is because you always have a tendency towards, wow, you say something good about me. I need to um, fully respond to what you said. When in reality, the act itself of accepting the compliment is what's sufficient for the other people. You don't really, I shouldn't really try to dissect what you said there. I believe it isn't like you're making a real argument. Not that you're not making one. The compliment itself is the argument, and the acceptance of it is the proof of receivable of what you're presenting as a positive comment to the other person. If from my side I start to dissect what you're saying, then I validate what you say. So that is why I try to not comment that much. Because after all, yeah, um, I, the point is, I have a fucking hard time with compliments. That's why. Thank you. And not that much more that I try to add. I don't think so. I it will be beneficial for anybody in that sense. I certainly struggle still with all of those things, but yeah. Anyways, into what you also said, yes, I think so. After all, there is this. I thought it was simply from psychology, but after all, it it is something that you can appreciate itself in almost every single aspect of life, and that is you have a lot of times, or not. Let's say it doesn't happen every single day of your life, but it is pretty common throughout your existence to have those type of conversations in which you, by expressing what you have lying inside of your mind, organize what you want to do with your own life. And that is why, in some cases, even going as deep as you can with what is your own existence and questioning as many things as you can about how is it that you want to drive yourself about around this world. Then, by doing so, you get to create a purposeful vision for yourself. Because if you don't do it, you don't even get to define which things are you going for. Because the conversation that needs to exist between yourself or your conscious and unconscious self is hardly presented if you're not talking. And if you're not talking, it can happen obviously by simply thinking. But thinking is not something that we have yet, the average person has yet completely mastered, let's say, to the point to which you can notice when is it that you're having inside of yourself not just an inner narration of events, but rather this whole complex analysis of ideas. So that is certainly it is beautiful to talk, and certainly it is purposeful to talk, and it gives you an organization. And the more you can do it, the more you can get to sometimes it won't really get you to be fully organized, but at the very least, if you plant those seeds of doubt, then from those tiny sprouts of consciousness, you get to create a whole cultivation of different ideas and cultivation also of different concepts that helps you to go with more certainty to deal with the world itself. So it is in almost every single way useful, even if at first what you're getting out of talking doesn't seem so, I think. But I don't know, I don't know. I lost track as to how much I had on talking, so let me check that. Uh, yeah, almost an hour. Nice. Somehow it happened. It tends to happen, I guess. I yeah, I can't I can't simply talk. If I talk, I I know that I can have those streams, but I feel like later by fully just it will be a problem to follow myself even more. Ah, but yeah, completely, completely. The capacity to also develop those tinier concepts that you also have is useful itself because once again they become building blocks of your future ideas and similar things. So it ends up being useful, even if sometimes once again you don't feel like by thinking or by having a conversation with somebody else you come out completely renewed or with a thousand new desires or objectives in your life. It doesn't need to be always like that. I mean, probably if they were to be of such nature, the average human will get overwhelmed after the constant, how to say it? The constant problem of having to deal always with the complete destroyal, I believe, of what you thought as real before. Imagine is if after every single conversation that you have throughout your day, you have always to change your optics on on all the things of the world. That will be pretty painful. So yeah, they don't need always to be the most deep. Once again, conversations. They can sometimes be cheerful banter, and that is enough. But yeah. I guess I I kind of get what you say, but if you want to explain yourself a little bit more, I would like that also because I kind of get what you say. I think it is something like in the case of you, always having to deal with problems, right? Or having to deal with the problem of your concepts being proven false. I guess. Uh, but yeah. If you want to explain yourself, please do so. If not, I will drink water, and we'll see. Ah, hydration. I already drank a liter of water this whole time. Um, we're going to have a problem probably later on because I will have to take an idle break. Because of that, it is what my present self realizing of how much of a problem I will be for my future one. Anyways, besides that, I guess I guess we're closing in to getting ready to continue with the book. I think I think I am not tired. I am trying my best to not be tired because I want, as I said before, let's see if I can go like at the very least 2 hours reading. We have to continue with that, and I have yet again failed to read enough so that we are making substantial progress in terms of, yeah, in terms of going through whatever is contained inside of it. I mean, I don't know if it will really happen, but probably if it were to present itself at some point, we're maybe going to lose a complete stream, or not lose, we are going to spend a complete stream going through one canto, as in one chapter, or even less, because after all, I hope it is as dense as it promised to be. I I don't know. I mean, after all, also 7,000 pages have inside of them knowledge. I don't think it will be all contained in just one paragraph. But after all, you still also have things like in the Bible. What are the Ten Commandments that are, if I'm not wrong, they are all presented in like one or two verses in those cases. So you have parts that are dense with information, I believe. Uh, okay, so all kinds of conclusion, constantly changing and vacillating our perception of some theory. Checked, it can be a problem, I think. Does that make more sense? Ah, yeah. I mean, I simply lacked a little bit of the previous context. I believe after I saw what you said, it was it was hard to really understand what you were referring as a problem. After all, chaos could be brought even from the amount of positivity that you experience sometimes. But yes, uh, what you said there is completely logical. If you have to, not you, if the subject itself has to deal constantly with the destroyal of the pre-assumed cons- concepts of the world, they will not be capable of assuming that the world itself makes sense after a certain point, because you can't live always with the problem of realizing that what you defined as the world, therefore also what you had assumed of the world and what is your world is no more what you observed. So you can't, let's say, if you are a piece of wood in a, what is it, in a waterfall, you're not going to survive the amount of crashing water and the amount of pressure that is exerted onto you, because you're not going to resist under the crumbling amount of pressure applied to your knowledges in those cases. So yes, it makes sense what you say. But yeah, pretty much correct. I will say good. Uh, but well, I want to stop. I want to not keep rambling because we already continued others 8 minutes out of nowhere. How? I don't know. It felt like I talked for 1 or 2. Time dilation, my beloved. Let me see. Can we continue with this? Yeah. So, as we are always going back to this, uh, oh no problem, no problem. I mean, I say it mostly because I think once again, I need to, I need to keep focus. If you have, in the reality is, if you have something else to ask, please do so. I simply move into something else because I supposedly gave it an structure. Supposedly, the reality is also I don't really follow it that much most of the time, but simply believing that there is a certain structure makes it easier on me after all. But yeah, uh, yeah. What was it? Reading fun. I think it was the category. Yeah. So far, let us change into a reading fun. Taran, there it is. Wait, I made the correct citation, something like that. So, here, we're continuing with this book. I think it was incredibly loud last time I checked the board because I forgot to save in which page we left when we were reading. So, we're decreasing a little bit the volume of the clock. Sorry if it isn't that loud. I felt like it was. But yeah, continue with this. We are Canto 95 of the Mahabharata. If it is something that we not know where or what we are reading, Mahabharata, a book of the Hinduistic people, um, continued with the observation of whichever knowledge might be contained inside of here, trying to see what we can take out of the whole epic story and similar concepts that do possess their own side of ideas and all of that, but that can also be interpreted as other things in life. So we are going to now continue um, from Canto 95 and such. I don't know how long. I don't really can estimate that. We will see. Yeah, that's everything I can say up to this point. Let me. So yeah, we left. Uh, we're crashing. What's going on, busy? Is this my time has come? Are we crashing, busy once again? I cannot believe this. Exactly when I want to read. This is okay. That is wonderful. Anyways, yeah, we are on Canto 95. What happened on the last two or three that we read was yeah, we're talking about Irtas. I don't. I'm sorry, but I don't know what the fuck are Tirtas. I think they are like sacred lakes or such. I believe so. I don't get to really know what they are. I the reality is I fully search for what their meaning was. But that's the reality here. It is an improper word in my case. But yeah. Um, so we're dealing with the Pandavas, the main family or the family of the main characters, let's say, of this story. The good ones, the Pandavas, the bad ones, the Gurus. We are seeing how they were exiled out of their cities and such. And well, we're observing what is. Yeah, we are seeing how one part of the Pandavas are continuing with their adventure on yeah, on their exile adventures until they can return to their cities and take control of everything that was on their hands before. Because the funniest thing, I think it is also how it is already predicted that all of that is going to happen. I, I guess I don't really understand how in such a world anybody can really live because so many things are already predicted by fate and such that it feels kind of weird. I will say, I don't I don't mean it as the most incomprehensible thing, but it has some weirdness to it. I have to accept. But yeah, besides the point, continuing with Cantos, as I said before, with Canto 95, that it is where we left last time. Um, yeah, I guess I have nothing else to say. Let me let me read. Canto 95. Tirthayatra Parva continued. By Sampayana said, the heroic sons of Pandu, accompanied by their followers, traveling from place to place, at last arrive at Naimisha O king, reaching the Gomati, the Pandavas bathed in the sacred tirtha of that river, and having performed their ablutions there, they give away, O Mahabharata, both kind and wealth, repeatedly offering oblations of water to the Devas, the Pitters, and the Brahmanas in the tirthas called Kanya Aswa Gaya, and staying in Kalakoti and the Vishaprastha hills, the Pandavas then come to Bahuta and perform their ablutions in that stream. Going next, O Lord of Earth, to the sacrificial realm of the gods known as Prayaga, they bathe at the confluence of Ganga and Yamuna, and living there, perform tapasya of great merit. And bathing in that tirtha, the Pandavas of Virbratas cleanse themselves of every sin. The sons of Pandu, accompanied by those Brahmanas, travel next to the tirtha called Bedi, sacred to the Creator and adored by ascetics, staying there for some time and gratifying the Brahmanas with the fruit and roots of the wilderness, and with ghee. The Kshatriyas begin to perform the pasya of deep punya. They next journey to Mahidhara, consecrated by the great Raharishi Gaya of unrivaled splendor. In that land is the mountain called Gayasira, as well as the enchanting river Mahanadi, her fine banks graced by thickets of bamboo. On that divine mountain of holy peaks is another Tirtha, the Brahmasaras, adored by rishis. On the banks of that lake of old, Dharmadeva, eternal god of justice, himself dwelt, and it was there that the illustrious rishi Agastya went to see that deity. From that lake, all two sacred rivers arise, and in that tirtha, Mahadeva, wielder of the Pinaka, is present forever. Arriving there, the Pandavas keep the Virata called Chaturmasya, observing all the rites of the great sacrifice called Rishiyagna. There, that mighty tree called the Eternal Banyan stands. Any sacrifice performed there produces merit that is eternal. In that sacrificial dies of the gods. Eh? What? Sacrificial. the- the- okay, there is a word missing and I don't know which one is it. In that sacrificial dies of the gods producing eternal punya, the Pandavas begin to fast with concentrated souls, and their Brahmanas, by hundreds endowed with the wealth of tapasya, come to them. These Brahmanas also all perform the Chaturmasya sacrifice according to the rites prescribed by the rishis. In that tirtha, those Brahmanas, old in knowledge and ascetic merit and masters of the Vedas, become the court of the illustrious sons of Pandu, and they discourse upon various subjects of sacred import. And it was in that place that the wise and holy Shamatha, who leads a life of celibacy, speaks to them, O king of Gaia, the son of Amurtaraya. Shamatha says, Gaia, the son of Amurtaraya, was one of the greatest of all Raharishis. Listen to me, O Maharata. I will tell of his deeds of Dharma. It was here, O king, that Gaia performed many sacrifices distinguished by the vast quantities of food he distributed and the profuse gifts he gave. Those yagnas had hundreds of thousands of hills of cooked rice, lakes of clarified butter, and rivers of quartz in many hundreds, and streams of rich curries in thousands. Day after day, these were prepared and given to all comers, while, over and above, Brahmanas and others received more food that was clean and pure. During the conclusion of every sacrifice, when gifts were dedicated to the Brahmanas, the chanting of the Vedas reached the heavens, and so loud, indeed, was the sound of the Vedic mantras that nothing else, O Bharata, could be heard. For these sacred sounds filled the earth, the points of the horizon, the sky, and the heaven itself. Such were the wonders that the people observed on those occasions. Gratified with the excellent food and drink that illustrious Gaia provided, men of Bharatari went about singing these verses. No, songs. There is no rhythm here, so I will read it. Sorry, but there is no rhythm for this. Um, at Gaia's great sacrifice, who is there today amongst creatures that still wants to eat anymore? There are yet 25 mountains of food there after everyone has been fed. What Raharishi Gaia of untold splendor has achieved in his sacrifice has never been achieved by men before, nor will be by any in the future. The gods have been so surfeited by Gaia with Grita that they are unable to take anything that anybody else offers, as sand grains on earth, as stars in the firmament, as raindrops showered by clouds cannot ever be counted by anyone, so too can no one count the gifts given during Gaia's sacrifice. O son of the Gurus, many times did King Gaia perform such yagnas here, by the side of these Brahmasaras. Okay, that was Canto 95. Uh, I'm trying to think for something. Hmm. Yeah, I think, I think so far. Sorry if I am wrong, but there is nothing here. I think. I mean, obviously, okay. Context is the Pandavas have decided to initiate their adventure on or over visiting every single tirtha, that is, every secret place to realize praise and also bathe themselves, obviously. So that is the context, but I don't really get to see any particular idea. I mean, after all, there is always a problem with with these things, and that is you don't get to see people really doing anything particularly great here. Even if in this case there is a mention of a certain Gaia King who fed, I don't know if it is the whole world. That is what I didn't get here. If it was the whole world or just the reunion of Brahmanas that happened at his place. That is what I didn't get. But everything else is quite normal, I think. I I can't I can't really pinpoint any event out of the ordinary so far. But yeah, I might, taking this into consideration, I might simply continue. If it is right to do so. Uh, Sorry. Yeah, yeah. I can't see anything else. At least in that one, sorry. Uh, Continuing. Canto 69. Tirthayatra Parva continued. Vaisampayana said, after this, the royal son of Kunti, who always gave profusely to Brahmanas, goes to the asrama of Agastya and yeah, yeah. I think there is not that much to really say. Sorry, they are truly killers. But yeah, goes to this realm of Agastya and takes up his abode in Durgaya. It is here that the best of us speakers, King Yudhishthira, asks Lomasa why Agastya slew Batapi in this place. And the king also inquires after the extent of that man-killing Didia's prowess, and the reason also why the illustrious Agastias wrath was steered against that Ashura. So, questioned, Lomasa says, O son of the Gurus, there was in the city called Manimati, in days of yore, a Daitya named Ilbala, whose younger brother was Babati. One day, that son of Diti said to a Brahmana endowed with Tapasya Shakti, Holy One, grant me a son equal unto Indra. The Brahmana, however, did not grant the Ashura a son like Indra. At this, the Ashura was inflamed with wrath, and from that day, O king, the Ashura Ilvala became a killer of Brahmanas, and blessed with the power of Maya, the angry Ashura will transform his brother into a ram, and Batapi, who could also assume any form at will, would assume the form of the shape of a ram, and the flesh of that ram, after being properly cooked, was offered to Brahmanas as food, and after they ate, they were killed. For whoever Ilbala summoned with his voice would come back to Ilbala, re-embodied, even if he had gone to the land of Yama and show himself to Ilbala. So, transforming Batapi into a ram and cooking his flesh and feeding Brahmanas therewith, he will summon Batapi, and the mighty Ashura Batapi, that enemy of Brahmanas, endowed with great strength and the power of illusion, upon hearing the loud voice of Ilbala calling, will tear open the belly of the Brahmana and come out shortly. So it was that the evil deity Ilbala, having fed unsuspecting Brahmanas, frequently took their lives. Meanwhile, the illustrious Agastya saw what saw his departed ancestors hanging in a pit, while their heads downwards. He asked them, "What is the matter with you?" Those Brahmabadis replied, "We are your maids, and it is to have offspring that we hang in this pit. Agastya, if you can beget a good son, we can be saved from this hell, and you will also find the blessed state of having a child." Blessed with great energy and observant of truth and dharma, Agastya replied, "O Peters, I will accomplish your desire. Let this anxiety of yours be dispelled." And the illustrious Rishi then began to think of perpetuating his race, but he did not see a wife worthy of him, from whom he himself could take birth in the form of a son. Then he took every part considered most beautiful from many who possessed this individually, and created an exquisite woman. What? That Muni, endowed with the great Tapasya Shakti, gave that girl created for himself to the king of the Vidharvas, who was then performing Tapasya to have children. Through Agastya's power, the lovely girl he had created was born into Vidharva's royal line, and, beautiful as effulgent lightning, she grew day by day, and as soon as that lord of earth, the king of the Vidharvas, saw her ushered into life, he joyfully gave the news of Mahabharata to the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas blessed the girl, and they named her Lopamutra. Possessed of great beauty, she began to grow as quickly as a lotus in the water or the flame of a fire, and when she attained puberty, 100 virgins decked in ornaments and 100 maids waited in obedience upon her. She shone in their midst, brilliant as she was, like Rohini in the firmament amidst an inferior multitude of stars. and possessed as she was of good conduct and excellent manners, none dared ask for her hand, even when she attained puberty, through fear of her father, the king of the Vidarbhas. Lopamudra, devoted to truths, surpassing even the Apsaras in beauty, gratified her father and relatives with her deportment. Seeing his daughter turn into a young woman, her father began to think, to whom should I give this daughter of mine? Yeah, that is Canto 96. I wouldn't. I wouldn't attach myself to any new character. Cloud, like, you, you might know at this point that there are a lot of stories inside of stories, and in this case, we are we are on the main story of the Pandavas. Inside of that story, we're right now on the story or the arc, more correctly to say, of them, of how they are going through the Tirthas. And inside of that story, we are seeing how they visited one. And inside of that story, we are seeing how they are getting told about this. Uh, who is this? What was their name? The name of this girl? Lopamudra, no? Yeah, Lopamudra. So I wouldn't attach myself to somebody who is so nested inside of these stories. But yeah, I understand it. Certainly somebody beautiful, supposedly. So well, interpretation of this that I can possibly make. Good question. I guess there is only one thing to really point out here, and that is this whole idea as to this one guy who I guess kind of magically gathered every single thing that he saw worthy of him on different individual moments. And that is kind of weird. I mean, obviously, this whole concept itself is as magical as it gets, I think, it's so far. Um, if it had to have any particular definition, I would believe, trying to make it seem logical, what is being mentioned is how this Rishi cultivated inside of him the capacity of observing every single woman that he saw as a potential partner for him, and by doing so, he ended up creating inside of him a proper image about which type of woman he wanted for himself. And by doing so, in this case, what he ended up creating then was finally the image of this so desired woman. And this mental image is what he shared with the king. And with this image, and this, let's say like this, he made such a good argument that now the king had no option but to raise somebody as perfect as that woman. Because always there is something kind of a myth here, and that is the Peters are, I think, the whole generational tree of someone. And if you go back enough into the generational trees of people, they all end up meeting to a certain point, or at least from the same um, races, I think they are. They all meet to, in a certain point, every single one of them. So it is necessary for people to contribute towards the insurance of the continuation of their bitters and such. That is why in this case the king himself accepted the requisites of shaping, quote unquote, this girl towards the image that the rishi had created of a perfect woman for him. And that is why also she ended up being so beautiful, because after all, the amount of care that went behind her creation was incredibly big, supposedly. But once again, this is one of those magical concepts that can't really be fully defined in any comprehensible way. So yeah, that is everything that I see as worthy of observation in this chapter or in this canto. That is canto 96. I no 90 50. I think it is 56. Yeah, 96. Um, I don't really see any. Oh well, I mean, yeah. You also have the transformation of these guys into rams. That is kind of weird, certainly. I guess a, an explanation will be something like because they. I, gue- I guess you can make an observation on this part of the story in which they become the food that is given to the Brahmanas so that they can kill them. And this, I think, relates to a side of comprehending that obviously they are Asuras, so they are already non human, but the message being they were so insistent upon getting their revenge back for not obtaining their wishes or not, yeah, for their wishes not being fulfilled, basically the same thing, that they ended up both the king, this king Ashura and his cook brother ended up brewing inside of themselves the hatred that drove them towards learning poisons and such. In this case, it is presented as one of them converts himself into poison, or not poisons, a food that is digested and that later on reshapes while destroying the Brahmana into the Ashura itself. But I think the explanation is something like because their hatred drove them so close to the desire of destroying every single Brahmana, their shape was changing in the sense that they now underway a character transformation as to they were capable of lying to everybody and they were always capable of surviving the different judging observations directed at them because they were no more seen as people who was horrible and and Asuras who were very dangerous as it is the norm here because after all the Asuras were pretty avoided by the Brahmanas. That is also why it will kind of make sense that their whole image also change, and why it is mentioned that by itself they have the capacity of using illusions and such because they change their whole aura in that same sense. I think, but I don't see how that can be translated into any individual so far. I think neither of those examples. So yeah, continuing so far. Eh, Canto 97. Tirta y Atraparva continued. Lomasa continues. When Agastya thought that the girl was competent for domesticity, he approached the king of the Vidharvas and said, I ask you, O king, to give me your daughter Lopamudra. The king sued, yet, though willing to give the Muni his daughter, he dared not refuse. Going to his queen, he said, this rishi has great power. If angered, he may consume me with the fire of his cures. O you of the sweet face, tell me what you wish. His queen did not say a word. Lupamudra saw them both distraught and came to them. She said, O king, do not grieve me on my account. Give me away to Agastya, and, O father, save yourself. So the king gave Lopamudra to the illustrious Agastya with due rights. When she was his wife, Agastya said to Lopamudra, cast away these costly robes and ornaments. At the word of her lord, that large-eyed young woman of tights tapering as the stem of the plantain tree, put aside her fine and costly robes, and she dressed herself in rags and tree bark and deerskin, and became her husband's equal in Bharata and Karma. Going then to Gangadwara, that best of rishis began to practice these severest penances along with his dutiful and helpful wife. Lopamudra, herself well pleased, began to serve her lord from the deep respect that she bore him. The lofty Agastya also began to show great love for his wife. After a considerable time, what? Yeah, after a considerable time, O king, the rishi one day saw Lopamudra, blazing in ascetic power, emerge from the stream after the bath in her season, and pleased with the girl for her services, her purity, and self control, as also with her grace and beauty, he called her to him for marital intercourse. However, the girl, folding her hands, said bashfully but lovingly to the rishi, the husband, without doubt, wants the wife for offspring, but, O Muni, I beg you show me the same love which I bear for you. O Biha, it becomes you to approach me on a bed like the one I had in the palace of my father. I also want you to be decking garlands of flowers and other ornaments, and that I shall come to you, adorned in the celestial ornaments that I like. Otherwise, I cannot come to you, dressed in these rags dyed in red, nor, O regenerate Rishi, is it sinful to wear ornaments on such an occasion. Agassi replied, Oh, blessed girl, you of the slender waist, I do not have wealth like what your father has. Lopamutra, she said, you who have the wealth of Tapasya can certainly fetch anything that exists in the world of men in a moment by your power. Agastya said, It is even as you say, but that would exhaust my punya. Oh, bid me do what may not make me lose my ascetic merit. Lopamudra then said, Oh, Muni, my season will not last long, but I do not wish to come to you otherwise, nor do I wish to diminish your punya in any way. You must do as I wish, without injuring your virtue. Agastya then said, Oh, blessed one, if this is your resolve, upon which you have set your hearts, I will go out in quest of wealth. Meanwhile, you will stay here, as it pleases you. That is Canto 97. Understandable so far, yeah. The problem is, although it is understandable, it's it has some problems, I feel. Uh, Give me a second, because I need. Yeah, I think it is understandable enough so that you can take the conclusion out of it in the sense of it tells about how in a marital in a marital relationship it is necessary for both of them to pay proper tribute to one another so that the woman subdues to the man in as it as it tends to happen in the Hinduistic belief. The woman subdues to the man, but there are also some things that if the woman claims for, they are completely justified because they have all the reason to be so, I think. And in this case, we're seeing how Lopamudra asks Agastya to give her a proper place to have this intercourse. And this gets, this gets justified because she's more than good woman with him, and that ends up reflecting onto how when both sides, I think it is kind of a deeper analysis than what is really being mentioned, but when both sides are willing, the requests that are being made by one can get fulfilled by the other, and it happens this the other way the same, because those requests are always made with the best interest of the whole relationship in mind, not just sinful, uh, selfish interests, let's say. But yeah, I think that is the best reading possible so far for me about this. So yeah, that is once again Canto 97. Now let us continue a little bit. Uh, Canto 98. Tirta y Atraparva continued. Lomasa continues. Agastya went to the king. Is Rutarvan progressive? Yeah, I mean, I guess it is. The problem is I certainly I am tainted by my notions and my ideas, but I guess it is being cited and it is being told. So it has that reading at the very least for me. If not, the woman will not get her request fulfilled in any way, you know. And I think there has been other occasions in which it happened that similar things ended up being real. I mean, the reality is we don't really live as Hinduistic people, so that is why we miss a very important side of this, and that is they don't. Although there is a lot of misogyny on their side, there is also a lot of worship of their women and such. They are very similar in in that sense to what is it? The Muslims, I think, that they don't let their women be so observable by everyone else, you know, and they treat their women as every woman is the queen of his man, let's say. So every man has the obligation, kind of treating them like the proper woman, with the proper limitations and imposing the necessary rules on his kingdom, but also allowing the requests of the queen, because they are after all made by the queen herself. And uh, yes, also it happens that we don't possess the complete cultural context, as you say. We don't, we really don't live there. That is why I made such a progressive one instead of going with the. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see it. It Her request was made after I don't know years of being with his men already, because time time skips are incredibly common here. So to see that he continued performing Tapasya tells you that probably this request was I don't know like begging almost to his men that he did something for her. Not really a wow, he was so considerate. But yeah, yeah, I would say that is a positive reading. Mm, That is what I tried to do there. After all, yeah, once again, you can believe it completely. Certainly, I can't take such text as the complete truth, but they can possess some concepts that might be useful. But yeah, yeah, I guess with that, I can properly respond to what you say. So now, continue with this. I think I stopped at. I guess one of the kings is Rotharvan, who was regarded as richer than other kings, to beg for wealth, and that monarch, learning of the arrival of the boat-born Rishi on the frontiers of his kingdom, went out with his ministers and received the Holy One reverentially. The king duly offered the sage Archaea submissively and with folded hands, and then inquired after the reason for the Rishi's coming. And Agastya answered, Lord of the earth, know that I have come to you for wealth. Give me what you can afford without doing injury to anyone. The king then told the Rishi how his income and his expenditure were equal, adding, Learned one, take from my possessions the wealth you please. Eh? Seeing, however, that the king's income and what he spent were equal, the sage thought that if he took anything, he would bribe someone by what he did. So, taking Zrutarvan with him, the Rishi went to Baranaswa, who, hearing of their arrival on his frontiers, went forth to receive them. Baranaswa also offered them Tiarkia and Batria, water to wash their feet. Then, with their leave, he asked after the reason for their coming. Agasti said, Lord of the earth, know that we have come to you for wealth. Give us what you can, while doing no injury to any of your subjects. That king informed him of how his income and his expenditure also were equal, and said, knowing this, take whatever you want. The rishi, who saw all things with equal eyes, thought that if he took anything under the circumstances, what he did would injure all creatures. Agastian's Zerutarban with King Padnaswa then went to Purokutsa's zone Trasadasiu of enormous world. The high soul Trasadasiu learned of their arrival on the border of kingdom, went out and received them with reverence, and that best of kings, in Ixbacu's line, having worshipped all of them duly, asked what they had come, why they had come. And Agastya said, Lord of the earth, know that we have come, that we all, eh? Know that we all come to you for wealth. Give us what you can, while doing no creature any harm. The monarchs also told him how his income and his expenses were equal, and added, knowing this, take what you wish. However, seeing how the king's expenses were equal to his income, the rishi, who saw all things with equal eyes, thought that if he took anything, he would harm all creatures. Now, Rahan, those kings looked at one another, and together said to the rishi, O Brahmana, there is a Danava called Ilvala, who of all beings on earth has the most wealth. Let us go together to him today and make wealth of him. This suggestion, O king, of begging wealth to Ilvala appeared to them to be proper, and all of them went together to Ilvala. Yeah, that is. Let me. If I'm not wrong, that is Canto 98. Yeah, completely. Eh, I might be making at this point kind of wrong readings because I can't see nothing else but lies here, my man. How is it that literally no king has extra earnings? How can the Rishi believe that nobody has extra earnings? I mean, I think not a real observation of the canto itself, but rather of the things said on it is how, if there are no extra earnings, can these kings keep receiving people? Because you need to have an almost completely infinite amount of stuff ready to receive anyone who is willing to go to you, and that presupposes that you possess enough earnings to be ready to receive whoever at whenever, and that is by itself already something that has or that forces you to possess enough money for any type of situation. I I don't know. I guess I can see it as that in the sense of abundance. L- I suppose, taking into consideration that always the kings and such are somehow magnific, all they have such kingdoms, such thriving kingdoms that they are literally earning and expanding the same because they are always expanding their kingdoms and such. Because if not, it makes no sense that your kingdom will be having no surplus of earnings. You should always have some surplus. If not, I mean, you will literally not be capable of keeping yourself afloat because with just the basic or with just enough to pay for everything that you have to pay, you are in the occurrence of any of the services that you get increasing its price, you now are thrown off balance. So it makes no sense. But I don't know. I guess that these kingdoms were supposedly thriving and always expanding. I guess. Yeah. That's the weird thing, basically, because it makes them sound like that somehow kings are living paycheck to paycheck. I don't think so. It is they are either lying to him or it is this other reason of yeah they are always expanding or something like that. I, weird. I feel like but yeah. Um, let's continue. I guess Canto 99. Tirtha Parva continued. Lomasa says, when Ilbala learned that those kings, along with the Maharishi, had arrived on the confines of his domain, went out with his ministers and worshipped them duly, and that Prince of Ashuras received them hospitably, entertaining them, O son of the Guru race, with well cooked meat, which was which was that of his brother Patapi, transformed into a ram. When those Raharishis saw the mighty Asura Patapi, who had changed into a ram, thus cooked for them, they became disconsolate and were almost senseless with grief and fear. But Agastya, best of rishis, said to those royal, royal sages, do not worry, I will lead the Ashura. And the mighty Rishi sat himself down on an excellent chair, and the prince of Ashuras, Ilbala, began to serve the food, smiling. Agastya ate up all of the meat of the ram which Batapi had turned into. When the meal was over, Ilbala began to call out to his brother, but only a great belch of air issued from the belly of Agastya with a sound, O child, as loud as the rumbling of clouds. Repeatedly, Ilbala called out, come out, O Batapi! Then, that best of monies, Agastya burst out laughing and said, how can he come out? I have digested him. Ilbala was stricken, and folding his hands, along with his ministers, said, what have you come here for? What can I do for you? Smiling, Acacia replied, we know, O Ashura, that you have great power and great wealth as well. I have great need of wealth, and the kings cannot give it to me, being needy themselves. Give us what you can, without depriving anyone. Ilvala saluted the Rishi and said, say what I should give, and I will. Agassia said, O great Ashura, give each of these kings 10,000 cows and as many gold coins, and to me give twice as much, as well as a golden chariot and a pair of horses fleet as thought. Why? If you look even now, you will find that your chariot has become made of gold, at which Ocean of Kunti Ilvalamid inquires and learns that the car he intended to give away was really a golden one. His heart sad. The idea then gave away much wealth, and that Rata, to which two steeds called Birava and Surava were yoked. Two steeds, Ovaharata, took the kings and Agastya and all that wealth to the sages as Rama in the twinkling of an eye. Taking Agastya's leave, the Rakarishis went away to their respective cities. Agastya, using the wealth of the Shura, did all that Lopamudra wanted. And Lopamudra said, most illustrious one, you have given me everything I wanted. Now beget a son on me, a child of immense tejas. And Agastya replied, blessed and beautiful one, you have pleased me greatly with your conduct. Listen now to what I have to say with regard to your offspring. Will you have 1,000 sons, or 100 sons, each equal to 10, or 10 sons equal to 100, or only one son who may vanquish 1,000? Lopamudra answered, let me have one son equal to 1,000. One good and wise son is preferable to many evil ones. Saying, so be it, that pious Muni took his chaste wife to himself, and after she had conceived, he retired into the forest. After Agastya Muni had gone away, the fetus grew inside Lopamudra for 7 years. Fuck. At the end of 7 years, from her womb, there issued the wise and learned Dridasyu, blazing over Harata in his own splendor. He came forth auspiciously, as if chanting the Vedas, with the Upanishads and the Angas. Yeah, endowed with great energy, while yet a child, he will carry loads of sacrificial fuel into his father's asrama, and so he was called Idmavaha, the bearer of sacrificial wood. When Agastya saw his son with such virtue, he was greatly pleased. So it was, O Maharata, that Agastya begot a splendid son, as a result of which his ancestors, O king, gained the realms they desired. And it is from that line that this place has become known in the world as as Agastya's Rama. Indeed, Rahan, this is the Rama of great beauty, of the Rishi Agastya who consumed Batapi of the race of Pralada, the sacred Bhagirathi, adored by Devas and Gandharvas, gently flows by the hermitage like a breeze-shaken pennon in the sky. Yonder also she flows over craggy crests, descending lower and lower, and looks like an affrighted she-snake lying along the hilly slopes, issuing out of the mated locks of Mahadeva. She passes along through the southern country, nurturing it like a mother, and ultimately flows into the ocean as if she were his favorite bride. Bathe as you like in this sacred river, you son of Pandu, and behold there, O Yudhishthira, the tear of Brigu. What is Leos, my brother? The tear of Brigu that is celebrated throughout the three worlds and adored, O king, by Maharishis. Bathing there, Rama of Brigu's race regained his might, which had been taken from him by Dasarata's son. Waiting here, O son of Pandu, with your brothers and Krishna, you will certainly regain that powers of yours, which has been taken by Duryodhana, even as Parasurama regained his, which Dasarata's son took from him during their hostile encounter. I think kind of the opposite. I will even say this is sacred, Jul. At this, Yudhishthira waits there with his brothers and Krishna. and offers oblations of water, O Mahabharata, to the devas and the Pitters, and O bull among men. After Yudhishthira has bathed in that tirtha, his body blazes forth in brighter effulgence, and he becomes invincible to all his enemies. The Pandava asks Lumasa, illustrious one, why were Rama's energy and might taken away, and how did he regain them? Mahatman, I beg you, tell me everything. Lumasa says, listen of, O king, to the tale of Dasarata's son Rama and Rama of Brigu's line, of great intelligence. To kill Ravana, Vishnu incarnated himself as the son of Dasarata. We saw Dasarata's son in Ayodhya after he was born. It was then that Rama of Brigu's line, the son of Rechika by Renuka, heard of Dasarata's son Rama of immaculate purity, and impelled by curiosity, he went to Ayodhya, taking with him the divine bow which had been the scourge of the Kshatriyas, to test the prowess of Dasarata's son. Hearing that Rama of Brigu's race had arrived at the borders of his dominion, Dasarata sent his own son Rama to receive the Great One with reverence. Seeing Dasarata's son approach and stand before him with his weapons, Rama of Brigu's line said challengingly, sneeringly to him, O king, O lofty one, if you can, with all your might, strike this bow, which in my hands became the instrument of the destruction of the race of Kshatriyas. Sarata's son answered, illustrious one, does not behoove you to insult me like this. I do not lack the virtues of the Kshatriya Varna, and the descendants of Ikshvaku, in particular, never boast of their prowess. Rama of Bregu's line replied, be done with clever talk and take the bow. At this, Rama, the son of Dasarata, angered, took the celestial bow from the hands of Rama of Brigus, that weapon which had killed the greatest Kshatriyas, and, O Maharata, the mighty prince smilingly struck that bow, effortlessly, and with its twang, loud as thunder, terrified all creatures. Dasarata's son Rama said to Parasurama Bhargava, here, I have struck this bow. What else, O Brahmana, shall I do for you? Kamatagni's son Rama handed Dasarata's Rama a heavenly arrow and said, put this to the bowstring and draw it to your ear. O Kshatriya, Dasarata's son blazed up in wrath and said, I have listened to whatever you said and even forgiven you, O Bhargava. You are full of vanity. Through Brahma's arrogance, you have got prowess superior to that of the Kshatriyas, and it is for this that you insult me. But behold me now, my pristine form. I give you sight. Then Rama, the Bhargava, saw in the body of Dasarata's son the deities with the Vasus, the Rudras, the Satyas with the Marutas, the Pitters, Hutasana, the stellar constellations and the planets, the Gandharvas, the Rakshasas, the Yakshas, the rivers, the Tirthas, those eternal Brahmarishis called the Barakhilias, the Devarishis, the seas and mountains, the Vedas with the Upanishads and Bashats and the Yagnas, the Samals and their living form, the science of weapons, O Maharaja, and the clouds with the rain and lightning, O Yudhishthira, and lustrous Vishnu, then loose that arrow. The earth was filled with sounds of thunder, and burning meteors began to flash through the sky, and showers of dust and rain fell upon the earth, and whirlwinds and frightful reverberations convulsed everything, and the earth herself began to quake, and, shot by the hand of Rama, that shaft, confounding the other Rama, came back blazing into Rama's hands. Bhargava, who had fainted, regaining consciousness, now bowed to Rama, that manifestation of Vishnu's power. Then, commanded by Vishnu, he went away to the mountains of Mahindra, and then onwards that great ascetic began to live there, in terror and shame. When a year passed, the bitters sing Ramater, bereft of all vitality, approached Vishnu. Eh? Ah, ah. I skipped like three paragraphs. Bereft of all vitality, his bright quell and sank in affliction, said to him, O son, having approached Vishnu, you did not behave properly towards him. He deserves worship forever and reverence in the three worlds. Go, O child, to the sacred river Badhusara, bathing in all the tirthas of that stream. You will regain your vigor. There, in that river, is the Tirtha Vtuber, where your grandsire Brigu, or Rama, performed great tapasya in the Krita Yuga. Rama, O son of Kunti, did as the Vedas ask, and at this Tirtha he regained the powers he had lost. This, O Pandava, was what befell the great Rama in days of yore, after he met Vishnu incarnate as Dasarata's son. Eh, that is Canto 99, and not to make it so timely, but coincidentally, I have a proposition. That is, let's take like 5 minutes of break. Because I think we're approaching the Canto 100 as it says there, so we might take it easy for some time. Recuperate our energies and to continue with the reading itself for a little bit more. Like, yeah, we're on 2 hours. I think we can go whatever it is for 1 hour more if I take the break. So let's do that. There it is. Let's say 5 minute break. And with the timer there, let's take it now. So let's see you in 5 minutes. Yo, it is fucking cold. I'm sorry what I wrote. A fucking blanket. Ah, man. Why it is so cold? This is not fucking winter even. But well, no. I'm back. Also, wait, a fucking mosquito. Anyways, so we left on Canto 99. I didn't make the reading of that, or the analysis, more proper to say, of that canto. Uh, well, the reality is, I have an idea, but I think it is kind of controversial. So, if you are a Hinduistic, you might cover your ears now. You might not want to hear it, but I don't like the ideas of tirtas. They seem to literally cleanse you out of every single uh, bad thing that you did. And I kind of get the idea of going to those places, but I don't see it as a good enough justifier of wow, you literally took one bath in sacred waters, quote unquote. Now you are liberated from any single sin that you committed. I don't think so. I I don't see it as that as I don't even comprehend how artists created. So yeah, I sorry, but I don't like it, my brother, because this guy literally uh, did something bad to the biggest god, yet by going to take a bath, he now gains pardon, or he is going to gain pardon. That is the story, basically. So yeah, I don't like it. I don't know. But yeah, I I think continuing from this reading so far, let me let me see. Yeah, yeah, we might continue now. Uh, what? Okay. Canto 100. Tirthayatra Parva continues. Yudhishthira says, Divihotama, I want to listen again in detail to the achievements of Agastya Rishi, of awesome glory. Lomasa says, listen then, O king, to the excellent and wonderful and extraordinary story of Agastya, as also about the prowess of that Rishi of immeasurable Tejas. In the Krita Yuga, there were some tribes of fierce Danavas that were invincible in battle, and they were called the Kalakayas and possessed dreadful prowess. Banding together under Beritra and arming themselves with diverse weapons, they hunted the Devas with Indra at their head. In all directions, the gods decided that Beritra must be killed, and went with Indra to Brahma. Seeing them standing before him with folded hands, Parameshti addressed them all, saying, I know everything, O Devas, and why you have come. I will tell you how you can kill Beritra. There is a high-souled and great rishi called Dadhicha. Go, all together, and seek a boon from him. You will become pleased, and that virtuous rishi will grant you the boon. If you want victory, go and say to him, for the good of the three worlds, give us your bones. What? Renouncing his body, he will give you his bones. With these bones of his, make a fierce and powerful weapon, which will be called Bahara, with six sides and a terrible roar, and capable of destroying even the most powerful enemies. With that weapon, Indra of 100 sacrifices shall kill Britra. This is all I have to say. See you do as I have told you. Quickly, taking his leave, the gods came away, and with Narayana at their head went to that he just as a Rama. which stood on the banks of the Saraswati. In an entwinement of many diverse trees and vines, the hermitage resounded with a hum of beads, as if they were reciting sermons. It echoed with the melodious songs of the male kokila and the chakora. Bison and boar and deer and chamaras wandered there at their pleasure, free from their fear, free from the fear of tigers in this holy place, and tuskers with the suez of root trickling down from the temples. Floods in the stream sported with sea elephants and made all the place resound with their trumpeting. The place also echoed with the roars of lions and tigers, while at times those grisly monarchs of the forest could be seen lying in stretching caves and glens, adorning them with their presence. Such was the ram of that hitcher that, like a bit of heaven, which the gods entered, and there they saw that hitcher looking like the sun in splendor and ablaze with grace, like the grandsire himself. The devas prostrated at the feet of the rishi and bowing low before him, begged the boon that Brahma had told them to. Well pleased that he just said to those greatest of gods, Devas, I will do anything for your cause, even give up this body of mine. Think this, that greatest of men, his soul under perfect restraint, suddenly renounce his life. The gods then took the bones of the deceased rishi as they had been directed to. Latter heard the devas went to Bastri, the celestial artificer, and told him about the way in which they could defeat the Asuras. Bastri was filled with joy, and with great attention and care, he fashioned the awesome weapon called the Bhakkara, and having made it, he said happily to Indra, Great one, make ashes of the terrible enemy with this Ayutthha, and having slain him, rule all the domains of Swarga in joy, with all who follow you. Purandara took the Bhakkara from the Devashtari's hand, joyfully and with proper reverence. So, I think I think it is pretty short, right? But at the same time, it is contained inside of here one of the most well-known types of myths, that is the God of the Destiny or similar names that is given. That is when someone is obliged to provide for, yeah, in this case, the gods. In other cases, as I said before, the destiny or whatever name it is given, their actions being predestined to be of a certain way. He, uh, what's the name? that Hitcher, that Hitcher, a human, I guess, was completely ready to sacrifice himself because the gods asked him to do so. And in this case, we can see that he not only did sacrifice himself, but also that his sacrifice was incredibly significant because later on, or well, in the reality, in the timeline later on in the story, we have learned already that uh, the Bahara is one of the most powerful weapons to ever exist, at least here in the Mahabharata. There might be others, but the Mahabharata is incredibly powerful and incredibly dangerous also. And that is why in these cases, what is being shown is not a random narration, but rather this whole thing of this might go wrong, and you might not believe that you have any destiny. But what reigns at the end of the day is to fulfill your role, let's say. That is the Mahabharata tries to guide here, albeit so directly, because once again, it is talking about something that already happened and it's giving it as something that was predestined to happen at that time. So it talks about commitment, I believe, and it talks about being capable of fulfilling your place to such an extent that you get to literally find yourself dealing with what you wanted to do the most instead of being lost in a myriad of different possibilities that might not really impact your life. So I think it makes so much so far sense. I think I don't get to know it, but I think so. Yeah. Continue. Anyways, that was Canto 100. Now we are moving into Canto 101. Uh, also, there is a fucking mosquito. Another, yet another mosquito. Amazing. Canto 101. Irta y atraparva continued. Lomasa says, armed with a Bahara and with a mighty Deva host behind him, Indra confronted Britra, who was then ruling all of Swarga and Bhumi, heaven and earth. Kalagayas of immense bodies guarded Mitra on every side, with upraised weapons and resembling great mountains with towering peaks. The battle between the Devas and the Danavas lasted for a short while and was, O Lord of the Maharatas, terrific in the extreme. Appalling the three worlds, thunderous was the clash of swords and scimitars wielded by heroic hands. Heads that had been severed fell down from the sky onto the earth like fruits of the palmyra falling onto the ground when loosened from their stalks. Armed with iron-mounted bludgeons and gates in golden mails, the Galagayas ran against the gods like moving mountains of fire, and unable to stand the shock of that ferocious and haughty host, the Devas broke ranks and fled in fear. Purandara of 1,000 eyes saw his gods flying in terror, Paritra growing in boldness, and Indra was dejected. Now, terrified himself by the Galagayas, Indra, king of the Devas, sought refuge with Narayana, the Supreme One. Seeing Indra so distraught, eternal Vishnu infused the Deva with a part of his own infinite prowess. And when the Deva saw that Vishnu now protected Sakra, each of them also transferred a portion of his prowess to Indra. The taintless Brahmarishis also imparted their mystic energies to the Lord of the Celestials. Indra was mightier than ever, and when Britra learned that the king was infused with powers of others, he sent forth some terrific roars. At this, the earth, directions, the firmament, heaven, and the mountains all began to tremble. Hearing this awful sound, Indra was filled with fear and, wanting to kill the Ashura quickly, cast, O king, the mighty Vajra the demon. Struck by Indra's Vajra, the great Ashura, taking gold and garlands, fell headlong, like the great mountain Mandara hurled off all by Vishnu's hands. And although the prince of Daityas was slain, yet Indra ran in panic from the field and took shelter in a lake, thinking the Vajra had not killed Vritra. However, the Devas and the Maharishis were filled with joy, and all of them began to joyously sing Indra's praises. Mastering their forces again, the gods began to slaughter the demons, now dispirited at the death of their leader. The Navas fled into the depths of the sea, and having entered the fathomless deep, teeming with fish and crocodiles, the Asuras assembled together and, and arrogantly began to conspire to destroy the three worlds. Those among them that were deemed wise suggested different courses of action, each according to his judgment. In course of time, however, the dreadful resolution those son of Diti arrived at was that they should, first of all, compass the destruction of all men, knowledge and aesthetic virtue. For these worlds are all supported by the Pasya. Therefore, they said, lose no time in wiping out Diana and Yagnas. Kill all those on earth who have ascetic virtues. those who know the ways of karma and dharma, and especially those that have knowledge of Brahman. For when these are dead, the very universe will be destroyed. Arriving at this decision to destroy the universe, the Dravas were pleased. They made the ocean, the realm of Varuna, with waves high as hills, their fortress, from which to make their attacks. I think so far I like 106, so obviously this is Canto 101 to start with. And from here I I have one conclusion, and I think it is interesting because it talks about basically how, particularly in the moment in which Indra casts Tivakara and doubts if it is going to properly do what is necessary to do, as in to kill Britra, it is talking, I believe, about equality, in which, because these people are incapable of dealing with the problems, not people in this case, because somehow we see problems sometimes so much more bigger than what they really are. We believe that even when we have fully dealt with them, things can still go wrong. Almost to a certain extent. Something very close to what happens when we ourselves believe that now, because we are as individuals, once again, trying to stay stay clear out of our problems. We only get ourselves in more problems because what we are not realizing is that things are always moving in one direction or another. So to avoid something only makes you get closer to something else. And although obviously we are talking about Indra killing Britra and succeeding, what gets transported or what gets also on the other side is he had to deal with the problem of he literally killed the most powerful entity. He killed the most powerful enemy of the Devas at that point. The only thing that I don't really know if it was an epic battle, like I'm pretty sure they heard in other places, in other mentions of the Mahabharata, or if it was such a random coward kill, let's say, because it was like they were getting overwhelmed out of nowhere. Every single Deva decided to help the one who wasn't as overwhelmed and who didn't run from the entrance of the Ashuras. And when they felt ready, they gave him pretty much a Dragon Ball boost kind of moral with the I don't know the translation to English, but it is Genkidama, and that made him for a second believe that he was the most important living being, and because of that, he gets to deal, as I said before, rather cowardice with the main Ashura, in the process obviously killing him. Something very, 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 very simple on one hand, but on the other, weird to observe, I believe. Because, once again, it has been, better to say, it has been mentioned as something less embarrassing than what we hear about right now. But I don't know. Continuing. Anyways, Canto 102. Tirtha Yatra Parva continued. And Lomasa says, The Galageas began to put their plan to destroy the universe in motion. During the darkness of night, the angry deities would issue from the sea and devour all the monies they found in wooded asaramas and other sacred places. In Basistas Asrama, the evil ones 880 Brahmanas, besides 9 other ascetics, could go to Chiavana's hermitage, home to many brahmacharis. They devoured another 100 Brahmanas who lived on just fruit and roots. While these depredations continued through the nights, they returned to safety under the sea by day. In Bharadwaja's Rama, they killed a score of Brahmanas of souls, brahmacharis who lived just on air and water. So the Kalagayas, intoxicated with power and their lives nearly renowned, invaded every Rishi's Asarama, one by one, during the hours of darkness, and slaughtered numberless holy Brahmanas. And, O best of men, though they continued with these savage tricks, what attacks, killing so many sages in their asramas, no one could find them or where they hid. Every morning, um,
Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305, dialing today. I just want to tell you,
que a
que a
mí
mí
me
me
gusta
gusta
la
la Pepsi.
Pepsi. Welcome, Chin. Have a good one. I saw that you were doing no mic, so I hope you are capable of advancing with commissions or with art. I don't know what you did, but welcome. Uh, welcome. So yeah, I hope you had a nice one, my brother. I know that you were doing it. I was watching. No, I. What is the right sound? What do you want me to? What do you not like it, man? Sorry. Yeah, yeah. It is the. A mí me gusta la Pepsi audio. Do you not know about it? You, you're a you're a lost cause, Chin. But yeah, welcome. Wait, because I have to do something. There it is. I am forget about my one and only obligation when somebody reads. Thank you, my brother. Guitar. Okay, guitar riff. Yeah. Uh, can somebody tell Chin good night for me? Wait. This I did myself. Amazing. Uh, just in case if he ain't here. And well, yeah. Hello, people. Here we are. We are reading the Mahabharata. We are continuing with this weird book. And also, give me a second, must. Uh, I have to. Where do I have it? Where am I? Here. I have to turn this. I don't have the riff here. I don't have the. I need to move it from here. Copy here to here. There it is. I need to see it. I need to mute this and transition, and it is here. Okay. And 5 minutes. Start counting now. There you go. Must. We changed the background noise. I think it is not so loud. Uh, there it is a little bit louder. Um, yeah, yeah. We finally got it back. And not finally, I mean, it was always there, but I forgot to add the redeem, and it was incredibly easy. It was literally 2 buttons. My bad. But well, um, meanwhile, people, let me continue. Yeah. Let me continue. We are reading like in Canto 102. We are reading about how people no, gods are killing more gods, or evil gods are killing good gods, and the powerful entities that are in the middle ground also, that are kind of humans but not yet. So yeah, we are seeing deaths and such right now. So let's continue. Uh, while these depredations continued through the night, they returned to safety under the sea by day. In Bharadwaja's asrama, they killed a score of brahmanas of subdued souls, brahmacharis who lived just on air and water. So, the Galagayas, intoxicated with power and their lives nearly run out, invaded every rishis asrama, one by one, during the hours of darkness, and slaughtered numberless holy brahmanas and, oh best of men, so they continued with these savage attacks, killing so many sages in their asramas no one could find them or where they hid. Every morning dead bodies of fragile munis were found, many of them without flesh and without blood, without marrow, without entrails, and without limbs torn from one another. Here and there, bones were heaped like conch shells, and the earth was strewn with the contents of broken sacrificial urns and shattered ladles for pouring libations of clarified butter, and with the ruins of sacred fires was kept burning with care by the ascetics, and the universe, afflicted with terror of the Galagayas, and without the Vedas being chanted, or bashats, or sacrificial festivals, or religious rites, was dreary and without any joy. O king, when men began to perish in this way, the survivors, taking with fear, fled for their lives in all directions. Some fled to caverns, and some hid behind mountain streams and springs, while others just died of fight. Right? But some that were brave and mighty bowmen, spiritedly, cheerfully, went out and took great pains to track the Danavas to their lair. However, they did not find them because the demons hid beneath the sea. The valiant bowmen returned to their homes, at least satisfied that they had searched. And, O Lord of Men, while the universe was being ruined, and when sacrificial festivals and religious rites got all seats, the gods became deeply perturbed. Gathering together around Indra, they held council, and then, going to the exalted and unborn Narayana, that unvanquished god of Vaikuntha, the celestials sought his protection. Bowing to Bodhisattva, the devas said, O Lord, you are the creator, the protector, and the destroyer of ourselves, as well of the universe. It is you who have created this universe with its mobile and immobile creatures. O lotus-eyed one, in days of old, you took the form of the Varaha and raised the sunken earth out of the sea to benefit all beings. Purushottama, you assumed the form of the Narasimha and, in ancient times, killed the mighty Ashura Hiranyakashipu, taking the form of the Vamana. You subdued the invincible Bali and thrust him down into Patala. Lord, it was you who killed the evil Shambha, who was a matchless bowman and who always desecrated and obstructed sacrifices. Achievements like these, beyond count, belong to you. O Slayer of Madhu, who are taken with terror and have only you for our refugee. Devadeva, protect the worlds, the gods, and Sakra also from this terrible fear. And that is Canto 102. I guess it, There are multiple rigs to make, but I guess the most interesting one will be obviously um, this tiny thing, as in the universe afflicted with terror of the Galageas, and without the Vedas being chanted, or bashats, or sacrificial festivals, or religious rites, was dreary, and without any joy. I think you can pretty much observe how this can be quite translated when you take into consideration once again that the Galageas were evildoers who were killing people without any consideration whatsoever. You can transform that to a certain extent into what can be also the concept of a plague, and you can see how the whole world, if you go for that allegory, also gets incredibly darker when things terrorize the humanity, and well, it is necessary almost to go into hiding for the sake of survival. So it is like, in this case, the Galakeyas became yet another type of in- infectious disease that was spreading around the world. And if I was going with that narrative, I don't really find how to fully justify the side of how these things get to happen when it comes to talking about why they were not capable of finding them. I guess can maybe assume that they were also speaking about the quality of how they all were probably, I guess, uh, trying to develop ways of finding them, and by recurring afterwards the gods themselves to the highest god, what they were doing in that case, figuratively, was utilizing the highest form of solution for everything. That is, the one in which you directly, if it is a disease, try to kill everyone who might be affected. I don't know, I think it is something along those lines. That was the image that came to my mind when I was reading that part. I don't really see it as so, yeah, so fantastic, let's say, in the sense that it is presented here. Although, once again, the story has its narration, there is also the underlying interpretation that might be made, and I believe that is a possible one in this case, and that is here, because I also saw something else that was. I need to read, give me a second because I don't. Well, no, I mean, the reality is, I wanted to mention this, but I already did. They are asking the highest god to fulfill the role of dealing with the problem. Nothing really out of the ordinary, I guess. So yeah. Anyways, continuing once again, that is Canto 102, and that is also more more than 5 minutes, quite more than 5 minutes. So let me do this. You go mute. You go on once again. It is. So yeah, yeah. Uh, Now continuing. Canto 103. Tirthayatra Parva continued. Hmm? Yeah, be patient. It can come back if you gather enough points. Must. Uh, if you gather them. And only if you gather them. Canto 103. Tirthayatra Parva continued. The Devas said, through your grace, everything is born, and the four kinds of beings increase, and being created, they worship the Swarga, Swargavasis with offerings made to the gods and the remains of departed fathers. So, protected by you and free from troubles, they live depending on one another and increase. Now this peril has befallen the people. We do not know who is killing the Brahmanas during the night, but if the Brahmanas are destroyed, the earth itself will cease to exist, and if the earth comes to an end, heaven also will cease to exist. Mahabaho, O Lord of the universe, we beg you to save all the worlds. Vishnu said, Devas, I know the reason why these Brahmanas die. Who will tell of it? Listen to me, with calm minds. There exists a savage and ferocious host of demons called Kalakayas, led by Britra. These were devastating the very universe. When the thousand died, Indra slew Britra. To save their lives, these Kalakayas submerged themselves in Varuna's domain, the ocean, making the ocean deeps which abound with sharks and crocodiles, the refugee, they come out at night and kill the holy sages with a view to ending the worlds, but they cannot be killed, since they have made the sea deeps their sanctuary. Think of some way to dry up the ocean, and I say to you, who but Agastya can achieve this thing? Without drying up the sea, you have no way to attack these Asuras. The gods listened to Vishnu, then sought leave from Brahma, who lives in the best of all lokas, and then went to the hermitage of Agastya. They saw the high soul Agastya, the son of Varuna, of resplendent mien, waited upon by sages, even as Brahma is by gods. Approaching that son of Mitra and Varuna his as Rama, that magnanimous and unswerving one, who looked like an embodiment of pious karma heaped together, they glorified him by reciting his deeds. The deities said, You were once the refugee of the gods when Nahusha oppressed them, torn of the world that he was. He was cast down from his throne in Swarga, from the very celestial realms. Vidya, foremost of mountains, suddenly began to increase his height due to an angry competition with the sun. But you commanded him to stop, and he could not refuse you. He stopped growing, and when darkness covered the world, the created were all threatened by death. But having gained you for a protector, they found utmost security. When peril besets us, you're always a refugee. This is why we have come to ask a boon from you, and we know that you always grant anyone for which you are asked. Amazing, amazing. I guess it is incredible so far. That is, just in case that is Canto 100, but certainly, I don't know if there is any useful analysis to make in this one, but you can observe how such a such a god is important and such. Let me do this. I think we have pretty much been talking recently about this whole concept of hope and similar, and I think once again it is embodied in such a god that there is somebody willing to save humanity, even when in this case everything seems to be failing to do so, and they seem to not even have the possibility of being saved, and almost are at the brink of extinction, just because they still hold that hope and they are still capable of wishing for something better. It is that they can now quite believe, quite be revitalized towards once again existing and keeping the whole flame of the human spirit going, let's say. That is also why this one yeah, this one God is in charge of always protecting humanity because it is necessary for, I guess, for the other times it was necessary to picture somebody who was always willing to rescue them, even in the worst of the moments, as such a deity. After all, how can you explain that sometimes when every other hope is lost, the human spirit can still go through and survive from the worst of the problems? Let's say that I think it's something like that what this god embodies. I believe I don't fully know. Once again, also maybe it is partially correct. The gods themselves always embody like 20 different things when it comes to concepts. So yeah, we might never know because I am no theologist. But thank you. Continue. No, 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 no. Let me drink water before I continue. Let me drink water. Okay, there it is. Now for real. Continuing. Canto 104. Tirtha Parva continue. Yudhishthira says, "O Maharishi, I am eager to know detail how Bindya became so incensed that he began to grow." Lomasa says, "In his rising and setting, the sun used to resolve around that monarch of mountains, the great Meru of golden lacer. Seeing this, the mountain Bindya said to Surya, as you go every day around Meru and honor him with your pradakshinas, do the same to me, O maker of light." The sun replied to the great mountain, "I do not honor Meru by my own will. Those who have made this universe have assigned my path to me." Wrathful in a moment, the Vindhya mountain suddenly began to increase his size, for, oh Parantapa, he wanted to obstruct the paths of the sun and the moon. All the Devas assembled and came to Vindhya, that mighty king of mountains, and tried to dissuade him from this. But he paid no heed to their entreaties. Then the gods went to the sage in his asrama, at his tapasya, the very best and most powerful of those who are devoted to Dharma, and told Agastya Muni what had happened. The Devas said, "This king of hills, Vindhya, has yielded to anger and stops the paths of the sun and the moon, and also the course of the stars. O best of Brahmanas, O most gifted one, none but you can make him desist. We beg you, make him stop." Hearing what the Deva said, the Brahmana came to the mountain, and with his wife, he said to Vidya, "Oh, best of mountains, give me a path, for I need to go south for a purpose of mine. Until my return, wait for me, and when I have come back, grow on as much as you please." Parantapa, having made this compact with Vindhya, Varuna's son has not, until today, returned from the southern region. So it is that, by Agastya's power, the Vindhya has not grown any further. Now, O king, listen to how the Devas killed the Kalakeyas after getting their boon from Agastya Muni. Having heard what the god said, Agastya, the son of Mitra and Varuna, said, "Why have you come here? What boon do you want from me?" The Devas replied, "O magnanimous, we beg you to drink up the ocean and drain it, for then we shall be able to kill the Kalakeyas and all their allies." The sage said, "So be it. We will do what you wish, and that will bring great happiness to all of men." Saying this, over to Swan, Agastya went to the ocean, lord of the rivers, and with him went rishis of great tapasya, and the devas as well, and Manavas and Nagas, Gandharvas, Yakshas, and Kinnaras followed the awesome sage, wanting to witness the event of wonder. Together they came to the sea, which roared, dancing with its waves, leaping into wind, or laughing with masses of froth, and gushing into caves on the shore, the ocean thronging with all kinds of sharks, and flocks of diverse birds, above and upon his waters. The Devas, along with Agastya and the Gandharvas and huge Nagas and most gifted munis, approached the immense waters. Well, I mean, I can. That is. One second, that is Canto 103? No, 104. I don't really see any particular notation to make there. So, excuse me for that, but I would only make the obvious idea that is that based on the Mahabharata, the Earth was the center of the universe yet again, somehow. But, well, that is not so weird to see in such an ancient time. I, well, I mean, the only kind of weird thing is certainly that the Hinduistic people uh, would believe such a thing. After all, they were supposedly more advanced in some technologies than us, and they had mathematical systems more advanced than us a lot earlier than us. So I don't know. I think, yeah, it is quite remarkable that they believed still in a human-centered view of the universe. But after all, I mean, it is still something not so easy to remove. Even nowadays, we have some resemblances of that with human being, the direct son of God. So we carry the will of God, and we are almost based on different religions, if not the son directly, the image itself of God, and we have to fulfill a role. So yeah, I don't know, yeah, but nothing else can really be said. I believe so. I mean, the other analysis as to who Agastya is, I already did. So yeah, so far, let's simply continue, I guess, into Canto 105. Yeah, yeah. Canto 105. Irta Yatra Parva continued. Namasa says, Varuna's son, that blessed saint, spoke to the assembled gods and the sages. I am going to drink up the ocean, a word of the gods, of waters. You be ready with whatever preparations you need to make. With these few words, the unswerving son of Mitra and Varuna, now full of wrath, began to drink up the sea, while all the world's watch. Indra and the Devas were awestruck and began to give praise to mighty Agastya. Oh, you are our protector, and providence itself for men. Why, the very creator of the world, by your grace, possibly the universe with its gods might be saved. Glorified by the Devas, while the musical instruments of Gandharvas played all around, and while celestial blossoms were showered upon him, the great Agastya drained the vast ocean, and it was dry. Seeing the ocean rendered devoid of water, the host of gods rejoiced. Taking up diverse weapons of celestial force, they fell to slaughtering the demons. Assailed by the devas of untold strength and speed, who came roaring at them, the Asuras could not stand before the heaven dwellers. O Mahabharata, only for a moment did the demons last before the onslaught of the gods and return battle. Moreover, the evil ones had already been consumed by the Tapasya Shakti of the greatest rishis. They was quickly massacred the Kalakeyas, decked with brooches of gold, wearing earrings and armlets. The demons, when slain, looked beautiful indeed, like palasa trees in full crimson bloom. Then, O best of men, a few of the Kalakeyas who remained alive and the goddess Earth and took refuge at the bottom of the batallas. When they saw that the demons were slain, the gods gave praise to the mighty sage. Oh, Mahabaho. Sorry. Oh, Mahabaho. Through your grace, all may have found a great blessing, and the ruthless Kalagayas have been killed by your power. Oh, creator of beings. Now, mighty arm, fill the ocean again. Give up once more the waters that you drain. The blessed mighty Mooney replied, I have digested that water, so if you wish to fill the ocean again, you must think of some other expedient. Great king, the assembled gods were struck with both wonder and sadness. Now, after bowing to the Maharishi and saying farewell to one another, they all went away to their respective homes. The Devas, with Vishnu, came to Brahma. They consulted again now about how to fill the empty sea. They stood with folded hands and forlorn. Eh, I, I know that this is not a real analysis, but I remember out of nowhere. I think it was three. I am not so sure if it is real. Uh, there has been multiple books or sacred texts of different religions that contain floodings. In this case, quite the opposite. The whole sea becoming dry, let's say. And if I am not wrong, it also happens something like that in India, slash Bharat, if I am not wrong. And that is quite noticeable because it always needs to be justified like this. I guess after all I can see the reason. How could you even make sense out of a place that was so usual for you to see and almost for you to bathe in to disappear completely in older times where such concepts were probably not that grasped, I guess. But yeah, that is what I wanted to say. Now that I thought about it the last canto, 104, and now the 105. I also remember that factoid. I don't remember if it is real or not. So let's assume that I lied, just in case. That's it. Uh, so something else. What can I? Yeah. There was something very funny. That is then, O best of men, a few of the Kalakayas who remain alive rent the goddess earth and took refuge at the bottom of the batallas. The fuck this means? Is what is this? Is this like a premonition of yet another war with the Ashuras? Like, what does that even mean? What is it supposed to refer to? Because if they were left alive, there is probably going to be a comeback or something like that. As it always happens with this type of stories, I guess. But I, I, I literally just learned about such a thing. I was pretty sure that there were, based on the Hinduistic beliefs, no more Asuras alive, or at the very least, evil Asuras. I don't know. Anyways, that was Canto 105. Uh, yeah, continuing. I guess I guess we might continue. Now, Canto 106. Tirtha Parva continues. Lomasa says, Brahmapitamaha said, Go, O Devas, where where your pleasure may lead you, or your desire takes you. It will take a long course of time for the ocean to resume its original state. The occasion will be furnished with the mighty ancestors of the great King Bhagirath. Hearing what the Pitamaha said, all those main gods went to their homes, will bide their time until the day when the oceans was filled again. Histera says, what was the occasion? Oh, money? How did Bagirata's ancestor furnish it? And how was the ocean filled again through Bagirata's efforts? O sage, who deem your tapasya as your only treasure? O Brahmana, who want to hear the achievements of that king in detail from you. He thus addressed by the magnanimous and virtuous king, Lomasa, best of Brahmanas, narrates the achievements of the high-souled king, Sagara. Lomasa says, into the clan of the Ixbacus was born a ruler of the earth named Sagara, endowed with beauty and strength, and that king was soulless. O Mahabharata, he wrought havoc through the tribes of the Haihayas and the Talahankas, all of Kshatriya kind under his rule, and then reigned over his own kingdom. And, O most praiseworthy of the science of Mahabharata, O chief of the Mahabharata race, Sagara had two wives, proud of their beauty and of their yachts, one a princess of the Vidharbhas and the other of the royal line of Sivi. Best of kings, Sagara and his wives went to Mount Kailasa and sat in severe tapasya in order to have a son. Practicing rigid penance and locked yoga, Sagara had a vision of three-eyed Shiva who made ashes of the Tripura, who is the Eternal One, the bestower of blessings to all beings, the great sovereign who wields the bow Pinaka with the Trisula in his hand, whom in peace resides, the Lord of all those that are fierce, who can assume any form, and who is the Lord of the goddess Uma. Abajo, as soon as Sagara saw that god, the giver of boons, he and his two queens fell at Shiva's feet and offered him a prayer to have a son. Well, please, Shiva said to that. Eh? Shiva said to that the most just king and his wives. Ah, I just now understand what I was reading. Sorry. Well, please, Shiva said to that most just king and his wives, Lord of men, considering the moment at which you have offered your prayer to me, 60,000 sons, valiant and exceedingly proud, will be born in one of your two wives, but they will all perish together. In the other wife, a single brave son will be born, who will perpetuate your race. Having said this to him, the god Rudra vanished, and King Sakara came home with his queens, all of them delighted with what had transpired. And, O best of men, there the two lotus-eyed queens, the princess of Vidharva and the princess of Sibi, soon became pregnant. When her time came, the princess of Vidharva brought forth something shaped like a god, while the princess of Sibi gave birth to a boy as beautiful as a god. Sagara decided to throw away the god when he heard an Asatiri speak gravely from the sky. O king, do not be hasty. You must not become guilty of abandoning your sons. Take the seeds out from the gourd and let them be preserved with care in steaming vessels partly filled with grita. Then thou will get, O sign of Bharata's race, 60,000 sons. King of men, Mahadeva Shiva has decreed that your sons are to be born in this fashion. So do not turn your mind away from what must be. I guess there is a pretty obvious reading that was even answered by the gods themselves in this case, and that is you should not give what the destiny itself tells to you as a given, nor should you take advantage of what you know because of your observations of the possible future to act carelessly, because in this case it was happening to the king himself that he was going to discard his sons, and as it says here, he was going to discard them and later on, because of that same action, become guilty of abandoning his sons. So It speaks about the nature by which, because we believe that we understand the future and we believe that we have control over the things that we had come to somewhat comprehend, we leisurely take less action than what should be necessary for our goals to be fulfilled properly. And I guess obviously there is this factor of God's playing a role in all of this and all of that. But in general, I think the transcription of the main concept is something along those lines. I believe so. I don't fully know. So yeah, continue. Anyways, that was Canto 106. Now on to Canto 107. Or well, remembering some water. Okay. Now for real. Canto 107. Irta Yatraparva continued. Lomasa says, most righteous king, when he heard a voice speak from the sky, he believed what it said, and as it asked, Sagara took each seed from the gourd separately and immersed it in a bath of ghee. Intent on the survival of his sons, he provided an urge for every receptacle. Then, after a long time, there arose 60,000 immeasurably strong and powerful sons from those vessels of ghee, sons born to the Raharishi Sagara through Shiva's grace. And they were terrible, and their deeds were ruthless. They could fly and race through the sky, and being as many as they weren't afraid of anyone, including the gods. They will chase even the Devas, the Gandharvas, and the Rakshasas, and all the born, for they were mighty and addicted to fighting. Harassed by the dual-headed sons of Sakara, Almena the gods with them went to Brahma as the refugee. The grandsire of all beings said to them, go your way, Devas, and take these mortal men with you, for very soon the sons of Sagara will find death for all their sins, and a terrible end will they find. The Devas and the Manavas bade farewell to the Pitamaha and went back to where they had come from. Then, of Mahabharata, when many days had passed, the mighty King Sagara took the consecration for performing the rites of a horse sacrifice, and as Aswamedhya Yagna, protected by his ferocious sons, the king's sacrificial horse raged across the earth. When it reached the sea, waterless and frightful to behold, although the horse was guarded with great care, it suddenly vanished from where it stood. The fuck? Sagara's sons thought that fine state had been stolen. They returned to their father and told him how it had disappeared. He said to them, go and look for the horse in all the cardinal ponds. Great king, at their father's command, his sons began their quest for the horse in all the cardinal ponds and throughout the surface of the earth. But even all together, those 60,000 could not find the horse, nor the one who had stolen it. Returning home, they stood with folded hands before their father and said, O protector of men, O ruler of the earth, O king, at your command we combed all this world, with all its hills and its forests, with its seas and its woods and its islands, with its rivulets and rivers and caves, but we did not find either the horse or the thief who stole it. Sakara was insensate with anger, and stirred by destiny too. He said to them in wrath, go again and seek the horse, and never return until you find it. Again, obedient to their father's command, his sons, those awesome Kshatriyas, once more searched the earth until they found a cleft upon her surface. Upon the dried up seabed, the sons of Sagara began to excavate it, exerting themselves to the utmost with spades and picks pickaxes, they dug to the bed of the sea. After violent excavation, Varuna's about writhed in agony, and Asuras, Nagas, Rakshasas, and all living beings began to cry out in distress, while Sagara's 60,000 sons slaughtered them. Hundreds of thousands of living creatures could be seen, with severed heads, trunks, and with their skins and bones and joints rent asunder and broken. They went on digging up the ocean above of Varuna, and a vast amount of time went by, but they still did not find the horse. Then, Lord of Earth, towards the northeastern region of the sea, the ancient sons of Sagara dug down as far as Patala, and there they saw the animal, roaming about as it pleased, and they saw the magnificent Kapila, looking like a perfect mass of splendor, seeing him shining, even as fire does, with flames, and seeing the horse as well, they became flushed with joy, having been sent by fate, and after their fervent exertions, they bade Kapila Muni no heed, but ran forward to seize the horse. Maharajan Kapila was righteous of Munis, whom the great sages named Kapila Vasudeva, assumed a fiery look, and the mighty ones loosed flames at Sagara's sons and burned them to ashes. Narada of Vastapasya saw Sagara's sons reduced to ashes, and he came to the king and told him what had happened. When Sagara heard the terrible news from the rish's lips, he was plunged in grief for an hour, until he recalled what Shiva had said, sending for his grandson Ansuman, the sons of Asamanhas. He said, because of me, my 60,000 sons of measureless strength encounter Kapila's wrath and have met their death. My pure child, taintless Ansuman, I have also forsaken your father for the sake of my Dharma and for the wealth of my people. Yudhishthira says, O Muni, whose only wealth is your tapasya, tell me why Sagara, foremost of kings, abandoned his own son, endowed with valor, something so difficult for other men to do. Lomasa says, a son was born to Sagara by the princess of Sivi, and he was called Asamankas. The prince will seize the weaker children of the townspeople and throw them into the river. Outraged and stricken by grief and fear, the townsmen met together and came, hands folded before Sagara, and implored him, Great king, you protect us from invasions by hostile enemies. Now you must protect us from the peril of Asamanhas. Hearing the fearful news of his son's doings, the king fell sad and silent for almost an hour. Then he said to his ministers, let my son Asamanhas be driven out of our city from this day. If you wish to please me, do it quickly. And, okay, the ministers did what he asked without delay. So did the great Sagara banish his son for the welfare of his people. Now listen in full to what Sagara said to his grandson Ansuman of the powerful bow. Sagara said, Oh my child, my heart is broken from having banished your father and now from having sent your uncles to their deaths. Besides, I have not to cover the horse for my sacrifice. My grandson, grief tears at me and my mind is confounded that I cannot complete my Aswamedha yagna. You must fetch the horse back and deliver me from hell. Ansuman went with sorrow to the place where the earth had been excavated. He went down by the same tunnel. Eh, I killed a mosquito. Nice. He went down by the same tunnel beneath the dry seabed and saw the illustrious Kapila and the horse. Seeing the ancient says, most righteous of his kind, who looked like a mass of light, the prince bowed, touching his head to the ground, and told the rishi why he had come. Rahan, Kapila was pleased with Ansuman and told him to ask for a bull. Ansuman first asked to have the horse back for the sacrifice, and then he prayed for the purification of his ankles. The mighty Kapila said, I will grant you all that you desire. Stainless prince, may good fortune be with you. In you I see forbearance, truth, and righteousness. By you, Sagara shall have his wishes fulfilled. You are truly a grandson to your sire. Through your goodness, the sons of Sagara will find redemption at the heaven. Your son's son will find Mahadeva Shiva's grace so your ancestors might be purified of their sin. We will perform a great tapasya that will break the river of three streams down into this world. The Ganga, O Lord of men, may good fortune be yours. Here, take this sacrificial horse with you and complete the Aswamedha Yagna of great Sagara. Ansuman took the horse with him and returned to mighty King Sagara's Yagnashala. He prostrated at the feet of the high soul Sagara, who sniffed the top of his head lovingly. Ansuman told him everything, all that he had seen and heard, and all about the death of Sagara's sons. He also announced that he had brought back the horse. When Sagara heard all this, he no longer grieved on account of his dead sons. He praised and honored Ansuman and completed his sacrifice. When this was done, all the devas greeted him with honor, and Sagara made the sea, where Varuna dwells, his son. The lotus-eyed Sagara ruled his kingdom for a great length of time, and then he set his grandson Ansuman upon his throne, laden with responsibility, and ascended into Swarga. Like his grandsire, the virtuous Ansuman ruled over the world with Dharma as far as the edge of the sea, following in the footsteps of his father's father. His son was named Dilipa, versed in virtue. Finally, Ansuman gave his throne to Dilipa, and he also left this world. When Dilipa learned of the awful fate that had overtaken his forefathers, he grieved and thought of the means to redeem their souls. That king of men did his utmost to bring the Ganga down into the world, but he did not succeed. A son was born to him, and known by the name of Bhagirath, who was beautiful and devoted to a virtuous life, and truthful and free from all malice. Dilipa made his son the king, and took to Banaprashta himself. And, oh, best of all the scions of Mahabharata's race, Dilipa devoted himself to a long tapasya, at the end of which he, too, rose from the forest into heaven. That is Canto 107, I think. Eh, nice, I guess. Oh, man. Yeah, that is Canto 107. Well, I'm going to be real. This is incredibly long. Yeah, let's be real here. That was too much text this time around, my brother. I cannot read all that you said. But well, uh, we quite progressed this time around. How much? Like 30 pages or so. Let me copy this. I have to send it. Scroll for a forget, so wait a second. Okay, there it is. Nice. Much beautiful text. Monko, you you are arriving quite quite in time to see the end of this. This is the end. Monko. This is so sad. Welcome. But well, we did it. We did like 3 hours and a half of, well, not 3 hours and a half, like only 2 hours and a half of reading, a little bit less in reality, like 2 hours or so. But we did it. We survived. So well. Also, what's up? Why okay? What what's up with that? Okay, okay. But well, we did it. We capable of a little bit and continue the beautiful knowledge that might be contained instead of the Mahabharata yet another day. So all I can say is I can personally retire happy today. But yeah, so I guess that's everything so far. No, it is the first comment. Uh, no, I am not going to lower the reef price. 1,000 points is nothing. Like I think you can make 1,000 points in around how much? One day or so? No, one day no. Like 1 hour. If you get the bonus from viewing and you get the chests, you get the 1,000 points in like an hour. So don't be uh, uh, don't complain so much. Put more time into farming points. Boom, you can make it. But yeah, yeah. At the very least, I remember to add. Huh? Yeah, yeah. I believe that you can. Uh, well, well, Wonkum, don't force me to make much because I'm pretty sure that the streak gets to like 450 if you have a good streak, and also good 450 plus 10 every minute plus 50 every 5 minutes. I think you can probably get like approximately one every 45, or at the first 45 minutes you should get one, and after that probably like each hour or so, I guess you should be also capable of getting one. So yeah, don't tell me that you can't get one when it is so possible. But well, well, keep along or final words. That's everything, people. Let's see if we can write someone. But in the meantime, the fuck did Steam open? Uh, my bad, misclick. I guess. Yeah, ignoring that. Not for real. As I was trying to say, thanks for being here. Yet another productive day, another beautiful occasion, and another time. We must say bye, I guess. We're going to see. As always, we're going to rate someone. Why is he reading? Why is he streaming so late? We're going to rate Arkia. We're. Why is he? There it is. I got him targeted. So well, people. As I wanted to say, yeah, yeah, they read that properly. Yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for looking. Thanks for watching the world. Thanks for everything. Guys, we're yet another pleasure together in this or occasion to read this time around. Well, eh, have a nice one. Remember to stay safe. Remember to hydrate. Remember to sleep if it is necessary. And well, whenever we can, we're getting back here. If we don't, at the very least, we were happy with what happened right now. Um, yeah, yeah, the watch seem to have been fixed, I would guess, by Stream Elements, because supposedly there were problems all around. So I don't know. But well, we're reading. So we're going into Arkia, who is doing ASMR. And well, that's everything that I can say. Once again, thanks for everything. If we were to see yourselves next time, we are going to do something. I don't know what yet. And if we don't, at the very least, thanks for being here. And regardless, keep yourself safe, people. Goodbye. Have a nice one. Riding into Arkia, doing ASMR slash just chatting. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Yes, is this crashing?